fairly simple and talk about what I try to know, what I try to learn, and share some insights with you today. It's an honor to be here. Thank you, Satish and the team for having me here. I was here last time as well when they were in Hyderabad. So I didn't see the need for me to be here, but they insisted that at least you do a small talk today, so I'm here. Digital disruption. Digital disruption is the buzzword today. Everywhere, everybody is talking about disruption. I've never seen something destructive being so glorified in the past. You would expect construction to be more, in the vogue, but disruption, it is amazing where we are today. I'm 52 years old, and I've seen my share of, short life. There's a lot more to go. And when I crossed 50 2 years ago, it was a big, party. A lot of people came down, and there was a big, a lot of friends from all over came, met me, and we were all having a great time. Next day, I was sitting down and thinking, man, I'm 50 years old. I can't take this, 50 years, it's a long time since I was on this planet. And then this fear of old age and all these things took on me for about a week. And I used to write an article. I used to write one column for one of the newspapers in Hyderabad about technology and digital disruption, if you may. And I thought, let me write about age. So I started doing research. And I saw that the technology that's coming in today, the kind of work that's going on around the world, I was starting to research and find out all the work that's going on. And for a second, I was amazed at the kind of projections they're making on the lifespan of a human being. Our children are going to live for 200 years. Take it from me. I can give it to you in writing. Our children are going to live for 200 years. Mark my words. My generation, some of you younger, some of you older, will be around for at least another 70 years. That's the guess I have, provided we don't get hit by a truck or something. Suddenly I felt very young. I felt really nice about it. So with that as a starting point, I'll run through what exactly is going on. Why is it disruptive? Our thinking, the deepest fears are getting disrupted. Bad things are getting disrupted, so it's a good thing. And why is digital connected to this whole thing? So with that, let me just take you to the next slide. So specifically, if you start looking at various industries that we are all in, whether it is software, hardware, digital, non-digital, whether we are in retail, manufacturing, every walk of our life is going to be touched by this new digital way of doing business, of understanding customers, of doing stuff. I'm sure you've heard a lot of it today. But the question is it an opportunity or is it a threat? If you are a startup, definitely an opportunity. So for the first time, I would say in the history of mankind, somebody off the street, somebody who has got no business background with a good idea can come out there and just change everything, can just challenge the biggest gorilla. Like Apple, you might have seen the ad that came out by Apple. He talks about how they throw this hammer at IBM, the big blue, if you may, and then everything changed. And of course, now Apple has become the big gorilla again. So that keeps going on. So that is a beautiful thing where your wealth, your family background, your ethnicity, your religion, nothing matters. It's your idea and how much you love the idea, how much passion you have for the idea matters. So that is very beautiful. The second part is, what about the established guys? What about Apple, Googles of the world today? Yes, they were the disruptors, but now will they let somebody else come and disrupt them? And some of you have established businesses here. How do you address this? It's like saying there's fire in the forest. Are you going to ignore it? Are you going to be ready for it? My advice to you is be ready for it. So there is going to be one kid in the garage who's going to try come and take your business away. And it has happened again and again, and I'll talk a few examples on that. And then there are businesses who are extremely aggressive. Sri Charan was talking about, the youngsters are very risk-taking, and the older you get, your risk-taking capability goes down. I want to tell my wife about it. She's not going to agree. My risk-taking capability has not gone down one bit. I think, it's a personality, and age has nothing to do with it. It's okay to feel that way when you're young, but your ability to, jump into situations and take risks, hopefully you get a little more tempered, get a little more calculated risks, but the core is the same. So there are some very established businesses who've gone out there and self-disrupted and actually created new business models and have shocked the world with their ability to transform businesses. And I think it's important, we are at a very interesting stage in the world where we have to start embracing change, whether it is government, whether it is industry, whether it is art, any form. Things are changing, and specifically with respect to artificial intelligence, where machines are going to come in and do a lot of dirty work that we are having to do today, and things are going to change significantly in the coming 40, 50 years. So I'll just move on to the next slide here. Just a few examples. I don't want to keep going back to this. Apple, I talked about it, how they came and changed everything, the way we even think about a phone. When I was a kid, there was this black thing with the phone, handle on top. That was a phone, but today it's a glass slab. I don't think I would have ever imagined that it will become a glass slab. Or, media. You can actually watch anywhere. You don't have to carry a tape or even a DVD. So these are things that have just changed, and more things are going to change, and we don't even know what's going to change at this point. So I don't want to act like a know-it-all. All I can talk about is we need to have the attitude of being ready for change. That's the most important thing. And I just want to share this example of Kodak. Last century, I think in terms of photography and in terms of cameras, they dominated the entire world for the longest period of time. No two thoughts. Everybody, that was the best, most selling camera. And then came the digital disruption, phones started carrying, and then you had this digital pictures, and Kodak refused to change. They refused to change. They kept sticking to the fact that, yes, camera is a camera, that is just fun, this is not the same. And their target customers were women, where they were more serious photographers, and men who were gadget freaks were not really featuring in their scheme of things. But pretty soon Canon, Sony, others came along, and 2012, Kodak went bankrupt. So it's just an important thing. I'm not trying to scare anybody. It's an important thing for us to keep in mind, irrespective. We may be a startup today, we'll be a mid-stage company tomorrow, and we'll be a large company day after tomorrow. So you need to have an open mind, is the point to keep here. And Amazon, again, amazing. This is the other extreme example where they are always defying conventional business logic. Amazing. If you think back when Amazon came out, it was a bookstore. They just had a bunch of books, and people would go search for the books and buy. And I was in the Bay Area at that time. We were starting my company at that time. And when they said we're going to get into a full-fledged store, I was at somebody's get-together in the Bay Area. A bunch of friends had a get-together. And all of us were laughing and said, these guys have gone crazy. Where is the focus? What the hell are they doing? They're moving away from their core focus. They're going into e-commerce. They're going into so many other things. They took it on. They dominated the world. Then they went from business to consumer to business. They got into cloud. Another big disruption. Self-disrupting and always thinking about the next big change. And of late, you see them in media. So this, I think, is an amazing example of what one can be if you compare that to a Kodak, as to what one cannot be. So I'm just giving, I know all of you know about these examples, but I just want to compare and analyze today so that we get a sense of what are the things to look for. Another, we'll touch upon Netflix. It's another big example when, when I used to be in the US, and when we first went to the US, if you wanted to watch movies over the weekend, we would go to Blockbuster Video. That was the big chain across the country, where you'd go pick up, VCR, and actually rent a VCR, get the VCDs or whatever, and watch them, and tapes, not even VCDs. And then give it back, and if you give it late by a day, they would charge you late fee, and it was very cumbersome, very difficult experience. You had to stand in a line, sometimes it's not available. And over time, Netflix came along, and then they said, we are going to ship these little CDs, DVDs, to your home, you watch it, send it back to us. That was disruptive. And that changed, slowly everybody started to become subscriber of Netflix. And I think this was 97 is when they started. In 2007, they took another decision which was shocking. They said, we are stopping this business. Streaming is the in thing. We are going to go for streaming. I think they didn't have business for about 6 months. To me, that's a gutsy, very, very gutsy. That is an entrepreneur. That's a very, very gutsy move to take on what's going on. That is disruption. Self-disruption, I think there is no better example than that in my view. So, and then you have the new ones, I'm sure all of you have heard, Uber and Oyo, Swiggy, brilliant, beautiful solutions. Jio, I know they were talking about Jio, flip it, it's oil and such, but I still think it's changed the landscape of India where you can get phones for free. Your vegetable vendor can afford a phone, which is unimaginable. When we were young, I keep going back to when we were young stories, but we had to wait, we had to pay some big amount and had to wait for so many years to get a phone connection. So that is just amazing, and it is free. So these are disruptive thoughts, and others are running for cover and trying to figure this out. So these are some examples I wanted to share, and then go to at a very high level. You may think this is all applicable to guys in the internet space or to guys who are in software or the higher tech, but it is not true. We have seen examples of travel industry. We've seen examples of various food industry being impacted. So this is a very nice slide I found on HBR. I won't go too deep into it, but it just gives you a sense. I'll try to share this with the group here, but it gives you a sense on what amount of disruption has happened on a 0 to 1 scale today, and what is expected to happen in future. So it's just an indicator where you should keep your antenna up and look out, where things will start to change, and either you jump at it or you figure it out, or you get your intern to give you ideas on how to make this change. So it is all open for all at this point. So these are the things I would look for to scale. So is it real? I truly believe digital disruption is here to stay. It's absolutely real. The core of it is technology. We have to understand technology. I don't mean just software, but technology as in data and science. At a very high level, it is science. You start understanding science, whether it is living long life, whether you have particles sprinkled into your blood to see what's going on in your body. All kinds of things are happening. All kinds of things are possible. I was reading about this youngster who came up, his grandfather expired because of heart attack. I think he's out of Chennai. And this boy in his science time actually studied and came up with a solution where you can predict a heart attack 8 hours before it happens. It was unbelievable. It's just a young boy, and just using the tools he has and Google it, he's able to do it. So we have nothing to complain. It's just the thought that is important that can be done. And like I said, openness to evolve and strategy. So do I have an answer for you on strategy? Can I have a simple template that we can use how to scale in the times of digital disruption? Probably not. So I just want to share this quote with you. I found it fascinating. This is by the CEO of Hyperloop, Rob Lloyd. He says there is no proven playbook for leading innovation. I can tell you my way, you can do your way. There is no, truth is a pathless land. You have to find out your own. And things that do matter, definitely. So the point I want to drive home with this quote is innovation during uncertain times, or uncertainty is the key. So what is it that you can hold on to? You have a good team to support you, have clarity in your tech milestones. So whatever business, you need to have some technology thoughts in your system to be ready for that. And obviously, like everybody is beaten down to death on focus on customers, and of course, some luck. Thank you very much.